Welcome, Sherry. We are so glad to have you here today. Oh my gosh. For the audience, you don't know, just met Sherry recently, and she is such an amazing soul. And I'm really excited to have her here with us today. So let's just jump right in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your story, how you came to be?
Okay, well,
Big
so
one.
I started out in the 80s in the professional pro bodybuilding industry, competing in Europe as a professional power lifter at the time. I was struggling with, the typical things we go through in our, late teens, early 20s. We're trying to meet up to the expectations of the world. And I ended up coming back to the US and very quickly merged into the beginning of, that industry. What happened during that particular time of my life is I wanted very much, like a lot of us, to be loved and accepted and to be appreciated for who I was. Well, I didn't realize at the time that I needed to appreciate myself first. And so I followed the beaten path of that industry, which was evolving very quickly. And of course, the usage of steroids and later other sports enhancement drugs. And during that era of time was cocaine and methamphetamine was a substance that was used. What ended up happening was I starved myself down to between 78 and 80 pounds and ended up having a massive heart attack. And I had the very, very deep trip to what we like to call the white light. And it was that experience that awakened me to who I am today. But what was first shown to me was, well, let me step back and say what I first experienced was love beyond human understanding and the release of this physical form of the body that we call flesh. And I was immediately one with everything, meaning I knew everything, I was all things all at once, as if I was embodied in what we would call God, our higher power, the universe. The true beauty of this was, if you could ever imagine love at its purest form, beyond what you could ever imagine, I guess I would say, that would be what I experienced. And the beautiful, most amazing part about it is this love knew every feeling I had ever felt, every thought I had ever had, and still embodied me in the arms of a mother or a father, holding me in that peace and that pure love. So what ended up happening was I was shown everything that I had basically experienced while I was in the physical body. If I had hit you, hurt you, talked behind your back, judged you, stole from you, or the opposite, if I had given love and kindness and lifted others up, I got to experience this all over, just like watching a movie. But the difference is I got to experience it through everything I had given too. So I got to experience it through you. I got to experience it through the life that I had given too. But I was also told that I was being shown that which I had not yet finished. We all come with a purpose. We all come with a chosen purposes. Not just one purpose, but purposes that we believe we can potentially accomplish here in the physical world, in the earth plane. And we can remember who we truly are, that we are these individualized expressions of this amazing source of energy. I am omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient power that is everywhere. And it is in you and me and every single thing that exists. And we have the same powers as it. Now you have to realize, having been given this awakening and this amazing download of significance, was extremely amazing. But I was also given the choice to stay or to come back in and finish that which I had not yet finished. That's how it was communicated to me, that I was given time to rest and I was given the choice. Now, when I was coming back into my body, as I could see my dead body, the last thing that was said to me was, and you must help the world to understand that they must give of themselves freely without expecting, and love is all there is. Now, coming back into this body, all of a sudden, suddenly, I saw myself for who I was. I was a very, very thin person at the time, but all of a sudden, everything that was happening in me was from a frequency of vibration of pure love. I was radiating from the most powerful part of my aura, an alignment and a connection with pure love. So I had amazing gifts. I had all of these spiritual connections and awarenesses to life outside of this physical plane, guidance from my soul group that had always been here with me, and other, like I like to call archangels and angels and other entities that we as human beings have difficulty really truly believing in. But suddenly I was awakened at that core. Now here's the most crazy and amazing part about the experience is I didn't realize when this magnificence was given to me and I was given the choice to come back in, I didn't realize, I wasn't told when I was going to be that version of Sherry Marie Gideons that I had been shown in the light. You see, I was shown her from the her that had already accomplished those amazing, beautiful things, from the her that is right here sitting in this moment with each and every one of you, truly knowing the gift that each of you are. I know that about each and every one of you, but here I am telling what I'm telling each and every one of you right now, and it's 1997. So listen, the world wasn't ready for Sherry Gideons in 1997, you know, with this over the top story, and we were approaching Y2K, but nobody could take it from me. When you're awakened at the soul level of yourself, and you are suddenly aligned with the awareness of pure love, no one can take that from you. And so I had to learn to let go of all those parts of myself that didn't serve me. This Sherry Marie Gideons, while I was already her, I had to release and surrender what I was not. And it took living in the moment. It took deeper and deeper levels of desire and surrender and learning to live in the moment.
Surrender is really hard. You know, I have a question. I never asked you this, but when you came back to your body, did you feel a sense of sadness or maybe like a slight disconnect because you were in your body again? So all that humanness comes back and all that other stuff does. I mean, not that you forgot what happened and what you were told, but you still had to be a human in, you know, the day and age and work through and let go, like you said. So I'm just kind of curious about how that experience has been for you.
Well, to really be honest with you, there's never any separation, ever. And
I feel like it is.
yeah, well, you have to realize that, okay, so I was filled with pure love. All of the, what I would call sadness or dis-ease or condemnation that I might have believed about myself prior to this experience, I was filled with pure love. So when I had come back into the body, I mean, I was just plain radiating from that new knowingness of pure love, that new awareness, because really it is all about awareness, that new awareness that there's no separation. Now, the struggle for me, quite honestly, was that now I'm back in the real world and I'm trying to tell this story. And every time I'm trying to tell this story, I'm faced with, you know, fear, and I'm faced with, I like to call it the story of Job. I was faced with being laughed at, vilified, spit upon, and called crazy. I mean, even the world at the time created a name for me. and the name was Scary Sherry. And yes, while that is degrading and it was very hurtful, I at the time had something that had happened to me so magnificent, as I said before, that nobody could take it from me. So I kept moving forward.
Oh, wow. I love that so much. You are just such an amazing person. I mean, there's just so much knowledge and stuff I want you to share about, but I know that we talked about talking about gratitude in
Yes.
particular. So I
Yeah.
really want to hear how that's helped you and how it can help others, because not everybody's had your experience. So we don't necessarily, like, I haven't had that experience. I'm going to talk for me. So I still feel some of that separation, not all the time, but I definitely do feel it. And so I know for me, when I get lost, shall we say, coming back to the moment, talking about things I'm grateful for, being present, meditation, these sorts of things remind me of who I really am and what I'm really about. So I just want you to share what your thoughts are.
Well, let me just say this. One of the things that had been said to me in this, near death light experience as well was that I never had to worry, that all the right people would show up at the right moment to help me move forward. And I realize now that doesn't apply to only me. It applies to every single one of us. I said earlier, there's no separation. And we've all been given free will. And the reality of that is we get to choose. We have volition. And so if you think back on, you can't say that not one person has not heard this, but every philosopher, very powerful philosophers that have come to the planet, their primary message has been be present in the moment, live in the moment. Why? Because your set point of power begins in the moment, and it begins with awareness. And so you wake up and you're aware you're awake. And it was the same thing like me. I suddenly was awake. And it applies the same thing to each morning. You wake up and you're awake. Now, we've all developed habits. It's just like brushing your teeth. You formed a habit of brushing your teeth because you know that it serves you. And you know that it's good for you. The same thing applies to living in the moment and with gratitude. I said earlier that everything is a vibration. Everything extends from a vibration to a frequency. That frequency extends out into your aura, and it extends out into the universe. So what happens when you're living in the moment, when you are feeling from an emotion inside yourself, what you're doing is you're sending out a frequency out into the universe, which is music. It's a sound wave. It's vibrations and frequencies. And you're pulling back to you a reflection of yourself, a piece of yourself, whether you're conscious of it or you're unconscious of it. And so when something's showing up in front of you, what do most of us have the habit of doing? We attach to the same emotion and the same feeling and the same vibration that's in front of us. And a lot of us who formed habits of wanting to blame or shame or connect to what's in front of us. Well, when we talk about being present in the moment, gratitude is one of those feeling vibrations that it connects and aligns you to everything: joy, peace, prosperity, good and greater good, all of it. And so when you understand that where you're choosing to be from in the moment is setting your vibration, it's setting what I like to call your vibrational field set point. And we have so much power. We are such infinite, powerful, individualized expressions of what we call God. We have that means we have the same powers, is it. But we can't utilize that power to the degree that is potentially possible for us until we are present in the presence. And that's why gratitude, I wake up every morning, and let me tell you something. I have created a habit. I call it the 60-second gratitude solution. I look at myself in the mirror and I start declaring to myself, wow, I'm so grateful what an amazing person you are. I'm so grateful for the reflection of this beautiful, loving light that you are. Woo! As I'm saying it, oh my God, you guys, the chills are flowing all over me. That soul part of me, that soul for each and every one of us is like a cog on the wheel. It's like this. Yes to all your good thoughts. Yes to all your negative thoughts. Yes, 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 yes to every feeling, emotion, and thought you're thinking. So what you're giving power to from that emotion is the cause of what is showing up before you.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I know I keep saying that, but I swear I have a better vocabulary, but I'm just in awe. You know, something that you mentioned that really sticks with me in particular is that it's a habit. It's a habit to whatever you choose, whether it's to look at blame and shame and sadness and or gratitude and love and joy and appreciation. It's a habit. And you know, I know you're familiar with this, but you know, the more that once you build a habit, you build neural pathways.
Right.
So just literally, that's just what you naturally do. So you have to be present. Like you said, you have to be present in order to build a different neural pathway. Now, if I had to constantly think about like, how do I brush my teeth? That's going to take up a lot of energy. But the better we get at just starting from a place of gratitude, it just becomes like brushing your teeth. And instantly your day's better, you know? May I have to tell you.
Well, here's the thing that's important to understand about that as well is that everything that we desire is already so inside of us. And so the thing to understand about that is that when we think from capital F, capital R, capital O, capital N, from the place that something is already so. When you talk about these neural pathways that you just described, we're actually using the 5% of our mind and coupled with our imagination, because it's easier to see a picture inside of us. And we're creating a more powerful vibration from the place that is already so. So I say to people all the time, like when I have a gratitude, and so these gratitude steps that I follow every morning. So one, I get in and I do a 60-second in the mirror gratitude, you know, kind of just flow. But then I have a gratitude journal. I have lots of gratitude journals, but I have a gratitude journal, and I sit in my gratitude journal. I write 10 things from the place. So I started out like this. I'm so happy and grateful now that. And it could be something as simple as having a conversation with you right now. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have these amazing people of a higher vibration who are showing up in my moments so that we can spread an awakening of consciousness worldwide. Woo, as I say that, oh my God, I got the chills all over my body, and that part of me is saying, yes, 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 bring it on, bring me more. And when we're being and we're feeling and we're aligning and we're connecting to that part of us that is writing on the paper from the place that it's already so, guess what? You're attracting everything in your moments of today that is in alignment with that truth of you.
Oh, goosebumps again, goosebumps. I love that so much. So what else would you suggest, or do you want to remind people of anything in particular? Because I'm just always so touched, and I get so excited. Even after we have a conversation, I think about you for the rest of the day and all the wonderful positive energy that you put out in the world. And, you know, for people that are coming from a place of being stuck in the hamster wheel of the brain, the monkey mind, I'm a victim, all that, it doesn't go from that to 100% positivity in 1 second. And I want for people to understand that it takes a little practice. It gets easier and easier, and it's worth it. And if you pay attention, you'll see the miracle. And, just the universe wants to be there for you, wants to give you everything that you want. So ask for what you want. Be who you want. I love that. What would you also like to add to that?
Well, truly, truly, I don't have anything that you don't have yourself. And each and every one of the audience members listening here today, it just starts with awareness and desire. You see, every single thing you desire is already yours, and you deserve it, and you are that worthy of it. But yes, it does take developing habits. It does take baby steps. This didn't happen to me overnight. There was a lot of releasing of tears, sadness, old beliefs that I had about myself. And it really comes back to the moment. I mean, the best gift that was given to me from the last 23 years has been the deepest desire to live this life that is possible for each and every one of us. And that required me to be more aware in the moment. When it showed up, you know, some of us don't want to do the work. And some of us say this is too hard and this is so much work. But you have to realize too, there's a lot of beliefs. It's just like an operating system in a computer. When that operating system gets bogged down with the viruses in the computer, what happens? You got to input a new operating system because it doesn't get you out there on the information highway anymore at the speed that we all want to get there fast. And for myself, I realized, you know, there were those days where, you know, bad things were showing up in front of me. And when they did, I had to be willing to not attach to them and not to give them power. I like to use Abraham's whole idea behind what we give power to. See, when you start on a direction of thought, and if you think of that thought for 16 seconds and you're coupling power upon power of that thought, meaning your attention's on it, what's happening is you're the cause of that particular vibration of thought showing up quicker into your experience. So when you can catch yourself in that present moment, oh, wait a minute here. That's not the truth. Something as simple as that's not the truth of who I am. Who I really am is. And start declaring who you really are. Who I really am is an amazing, magnificent, beautiful person that attracts a whole, perfect, and complete life. A life filled with good and greater good. A life filled with ease and grace. And I'm so grateful in this moment that I'm speaking this truth about myself and about for each and every one of you, that I can release this out into the universe that I know is infinite. And every avenue, channel, and opportunity of good and greater good is being pulled to me because that's what I'm giving my power of thought to in the moment. And I'm out of the way after that. I don't have to push. I don't have to try and make things happen. I just let go, release, and surrender what we've been talking about. That's what I want to leave people with. Is it takes baby steps? Yes. But what I really want people to know that it's definitely worth catching yourself in the moments of today when you go there and choosing, because you have choice, choosing to shift that in the direction of what you really want because you deserve it.
That's so well said. And I just love that too, because, you know, as a human, as a person, I always think, you know, put it back into my experiences so I can understand it in a little bit better way.
Yeah.
And when I lived in Italy, because I had the opportunity to live there and I didn't speak the language yet, and I was uncomfortable almost, I mean, literally every day, I was uncomfortable for most of the day. And then I moved back to the States and I was sad. And it took me a long time to figure out that the reason why was because the reason why I was actually happy in Italy was because I was out of my comfort zone and I was growing. So I had the honor and the privilege to learn that being uncomfortable doesn't equal bad. Being uncomfortable can be fun if you can just sit with it and be like, that's interesting. So like when you're being a different way and deciding to be different, it can be uncomfortable. It doesn't feel natural because you haven't done it before, but it's entirely possible. Like you said, and plus we're all connected. So
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Well, and the cool thing about that, it's so funny you bring that experience up because I had the exact same experience when I lived in Germany. I was in my early 20s living in Germany. I was very fortunate to have attracted the Burgermeister of Kuzel's daughter. And so she spoke both dialects, but it was very much like yourself. I was there all alone. I didn't have, my husband was gone all the time. And so I had to step out of my comfort zone and open myself up to a greater expression of, you know, what was possible during this particular time of my life. And so, and it's that way with so many of the things we do. I mean, in 2004, I had a second near death, and it was in this near death that I was able to really apply these principles that I'm sharing with each and every one of you today, because I was given a diagnosis, and that diagnosis was that there was dis-ease in my body, and then I possibly had 6 months to live with, you know, because I needed a transplant. They said that my heart had stretched out the size of a cantaloupe and that I was going to need a heart transplant. But literally, these principles that I've been sharing with you by living in the moment, I turned away from the appearance. So the appearance was something was wrong and there was disease and we could call it bad. There was something wrong. But instead, I went into my knowingness that I was whole, perfect, and complete. I went into my imagination and I imagined my heart in my imagination and I watched it pumping perfectly. And I watched the arteries in my imagination flowing perfectly. So going back to what I was saying earlier about living in the moment, I was aware when I was talking to people that we spoke about me outweighing the odds, that we spoke about me persevering, that the language that was coming out of me was always speaking from a direction that I was already healed. Now, you have to realize my doctor didn't particularly like this conversation that I was having with him because he came from the medical system. But he did allow me to share what I'm sharing with all of you today. And over a period of 3 years, fast forward, he calls me in one day and he says, listen, you're the most amazing person I have met in my life. And he says, and now I believe what you believe. And he says, and I believe it from not only a place of seeing this happen for yourself, but seeing the shifts and the changes occur in my own life and how I've been able to deliver more of that to my patients and seeing the changes in them. But literally he weaned me off of all my medication and I was 100% healed, and they couldn't show signs of me ever having had any heart attacks. And today, I mean, that was in 2004, fast forward to today, 2020, I am 100% healed and they can't show signs of any kind of heart issues, and I've had 2 heart attacks. So the message is that guess what? Each and every one of us is freaking amazing, and we have the gift to heal anything. That's how powerful we all are.
You know, I also love that, you know, you and I had a conversation about how sometimes we tend to put other people kind of like above us sometimes,
Yep,
and that's a human thing to do.
sure.
But the thing I really love about you is that you show other people they're awesome, for
Yes.
lack of better terminology. You reflect that back to them so that they can see it, so that they have a little piece of understanding for themselves that they can do it too. And I just think that that is such a gift. And, you know, love you. I just think you're such an amazing person. And I really am so glad we got to have this conversation. Is there anything else that you want to mention as like a lasting little gem before we talk about the gift?
Well, just as I said, I mean, over the last 23 years, the message that was given to me when I came back into my body was that we must give of ourselves freely without expecting, and love is all there is. You see, we are not separate from anything. Anything we need is already available to us. And if we would just surrender and realize the highest form in the universe is love. It's joy. It's that higher vibration of love and joy. And when you can tap into that in yourself, you attract what you are. You always attract what you are. And so each and every one of you deserves that. And I want each and every one of you to experience that because we're all deserving of that.
Love it. Oh, thank you so much. So why don't you tell us, I mean, obviously the links are going to be below, but you have a gift for the audience.
Yes, so I have my ebook, The 7 Steps of Greatness, and I want each and every one of you to get that and to start with that, because you are, each and every one of you, so great. And I want you to tap into that and speak that into your life.
Love it. Thank you so much again, as always, Sherry. And I just appreciate you. There aren't enough words or vocabulary to honor how much I appreciate you. So, and I'm sure that the audience does as well, because you're just fabulous and you show people fabulous. So thank you.
Oh
I
my gosh, thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you so much, sweetie. I appreciate you and every one of you audience members.